Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring the SLA Industries 2nd edition color rulebook. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this noir, splatterpunk, science fiction experience, please check out the playlist in the description below. In this part we are going to take a look at another species and at the rest of the character creation process. Let's start with the Neophron. If you choose the Neophron as your character species, you originate from the desert worlds of the Farouk solar system, far from the world of progress in which you now reside. Mort is a diametric opposite of the blazing sun and cooling breeze of your home. It is grey, damp, and miserable. Nonetheless, you are excited. It is vastly different from what you know, and variety is the spice of life. You cannot wait to explore all aspects of SLA society. Like most of your kind, you come from considerable wealth, but here under the employment of SLA Industries, you insist on starting with nothing more or less than any starting operative. Your goal differs greatly from most people entering the company, in that you aren't driven to climb the corporate SCL ladder. Wealth and status is what you left behind. Your driving force is new experiences, true altruism, and using your broad range of skills and education to help others less fortunate than yourself. You chose a training package that would place you in the most impoverished areas of downtown, where your services can do the most good. Having been raised in conflict space, you are fully aware of the threat of White Earth, and see now that the same cruelty and ugliness associated with that awful place is now amongst the civilians of downtown. When it comes to the Neophron background, the Neophron are a new species to emerge in the world of progress. Many class them as a conflict race, as most fresh faces on Mort are believed to have once been an enemy of the company. However, the Neophron were never at war with SLA Industries, and as far as most people know, they have always existed in conflict space. Their reasoning for entering the world of progress is to guide and educate. They know the conflict races and their motivations and the Xi'an cult, which is all but destroying the planets beyond the world of progress. The Neophron are under no illusion with regards to the true nature of SLA. They know of its corruption and its cruelty and its apathy towards justice. But the Neophron still believe there is hope. Neophron are by and large a good-natured species, whose education and research has taught them to respect and assimilate into unfamiliar civilizations and absorb their cultures and beliefs. A Neophron will be fascinated by the deep-rooted mysticism of the Shactars, but will also try to accept and tolerate the belligerent brutishness of frothers. Refined and charismatic, most if not all SLA species will get on with the Neophron, but if they can be faulted for anything, it may be their own intellectual pride. Neophron will go to great lengths to learn a new skill, or explore every aspect of topic, and may sometimes frustrate themselves with failure or by simply being incorrect. Neophron never sit idle. They are always reading a book or data slug, learning a new instrument, or chatting with the locals and sampling their native cuisine, regardless of quality or refinement. Neophron make good operative squad leaders, and SLA administration will usually assign management status to the Neophron, who they know will opt for the most sensible course of action and calmly keep their rowdy team members focused yet driven. Neophron tend to dislike fighting, as their bodies aren't specially built for it, and will try to find a peaceful solution where possible. They dislike the finality of death, as it offers no chance of redemption, so rarely will a Neophron kill a defeated or unconscious foe if they can safely be brought to justice instead. When it comes to their appearance, the majority of Neophron entering the world of progress are tall and slender, with refined and graceful mannerisms and gestures. Neophron are avian humanoids. They do not have wings despite their plumage that covers all but their hands and feet, which terminate in thin, black talons. Their heads are specially bird-like, and there is a wide diversity of color and shape, particularly around the beak and eyes. They also bear unique skin patterns around the nasal region, by which Neophrons can identify particular families and nationalities. On Mort, Neophron typically dress in formal attire, whether they are employed by the corporate sector or not. These outfits are usually well-made, tailored suits, waistcoats and overcoats. Neophron add their own Pharaohcan incline to such conservative wear, such as adding subtle golden adornments, pendants, and ornately carved blue stone cufflinks. These embellishments are more pronounced when they are attending diplomatic events and they wish to display more of their cultural identity. Those Neophron who do not take combat classes equip themselves with gear that pays to their strengths, opting for light armor such as silverback suits when funds will allow, vibro sabers, and easily concealable pistols. This is done as much to convey a message to civilians and even potential enemies that violence and bloodshed is not their primary aim. When it comes to their specific species abilities, they have Charm Offensive. The Neophron are talkers, born to a world where speech is their greatest weapon. On the streets of Mort, the Neophron's silver tongue is a vital tool in investigation and PR. A Neophron character receives a positive modifier to the success die for all diplomacy, oratory, and persuasion roles. This bonus is not applied when dealing with other members of the Neophron species. They are just too wise to be drawn in. They also have Inquisitive Mind. A Neophron's understanding of the power of words generally leads to the youth of the race to focus on studies and communication techniques. By most standards, a Neophron is generally educated to a higher standard than even the humans found on Mort. To reflect this, the Neophron has more starting racial skills than other species. In addition, at the end of character creation, a Neophron character may raise related skills to their area of expertise. Now let's move on to the character creation process. When it comes to stats, they represent the core capabilities of a character, how smart, strong, fast, or lucky they are. So, we have Strength, a measure of how physically strong and fit the character is, as well as their capabilities in close combat. We also have Dexterity, which represents a character's speed, agility, and hand-to-eye coordination. We also have Knowledge. Knowledge is the core thinking power of a character, representing not only their level of education in academic subjects, but also their wit and ability to retain vital information. We also have Concentration. A character's concentration stat is considered for complex tasks that require both dedication and study, as well as their ability to hone their senses in order to spot and detect threats or clues. Then we have Charisma, which is a measure of a character's likability, communication skills, and persuasive nature. Then we have Cool. Cool represents a character's willpower and ability to resist the effects of fear. It is used when interrogating and torturing subjects as well, or when survival instincts take over. We also have Luck. A character's luck stat is a measure of just how lucky they are in the line of duty, so it's pretty self-explanatory. It is important to note that Ebonites do not have a luck stat. Then we have Flux. Only Ebonites have a Flux stat. Flux represents the Ebonite's mastery of the ebb, and represents a pool of resources that can be used to evoke powerful ebb disciplines during the game. You could think of this as special psionic abilities. Then we have Stat ranks. Each stat has a range from 0 to 6, with 0 representing a particularly low capability in that area, and 6 representing the peak of capability. The maximum rank available to a character in any stat depends upon the species of that character. It is interesting that, while operative stats range from 0 to 6, other creatures lurking within the world of progress may break these limits. Additionally, the use of certain hardware, drugs, and abilities may increase stats over the species limits temporarily during the course of the game. Now, concerning starting stats, all stats begin the initial ranks as listed in the species stat limits table. A player must then spend 12 points on increasing their character's stats. Every point spent increases the rank of the chosen stat by 1. Once all points are spent, the player should record the stat ranks on their character sheet. Then we have information on initiative bonus. The character sheet also has a space to record a character's initiative bonus. This value is equal to the character's dexterity and concentration stats added together. When it comes to ratings points represent the reputation that a character has in certain areas, either through televised action, corporate sponsorship, or unshakable faith in their own abilities. During the game, ratings points are spent to overcome great obstacles, perform cinematic feats, or scrape a success from the jaws of defeat. Each character has a number of ratings points in addition to their stats. Rating points are initially generated based upon the ranks that a character has in certain stats and fall into 3 categories: body, brain, and bravado. Each ratings points category has a range from 0 to 6, regardless of a character's species. During character creation, a character will assign 2 ratings points in one category, 1 to another category, and 0 in the final category. To determine which category gains which points, you should add up the stat ranks under each category and assign ratings points to them in order of value, with 2 points being awarded to the highest total and 0 points to the lowest. If any of the stat totals are tied, the player may decide which category receives which points. Now, when it comes to starting ratings points, in addition to the starting values, a player must spend 3 additional points on increasing their character's ratings points. Every point spent adds 1 ratings point to the chosen category. However, no more than 2 of these points may be allocated to the same category. Then we have information on skills, which represent the capabilities gifted to a character through their life experience and formal training. When stats represent the intrinsic strength and mental capabilities of a character, skills show the technical capabilities and specialist knowledge gained from an education or hands-on experience with a particular task. Now, each skill has a maximum of 4 ranks, though only the first 3 are available to starting characters. If a character does not possess a certain skill, then they are considered to be unskilled in that particular area. Being unskilled does not mean that a character is incapable of performing a task, but that they will find performing such actions considerably harder than those with the relevant training. For example, being unskilled in swim does not mean that a character can't swim, rather that they can only swim at a casual or leisurely pace and not well under pressure. There is a skills list divided by stats, that is, each stat represents a category of skills, because each skill is tied to a particular attribute. Let me read some of them to you. In the category of strength we have climbing, melee weapons, polearm, shieldcraft. In the category of dexterity we have things such as acrobatics, drive motorcycle, forgery, pistol, rifle. In the category of knowledge we have things such as admin and finance, computer, education, forensics, language. In the category of concentration we have things such as demolitions, detect, lockpick, read lips, tactics. In the category of charisma we have diplomacy, haggle, leadership, oratory. In the category of cool we have bribery, gambling, interrogate, intimidate. In the category of ebb disciplines we have awareness, blast. And I want to talk a bit more about these disciplines because they are unusual. In the case of blast, it is the most destructive of the ebb disciplines, molding fragments of the Ebonite's emotional state into a physical form. The skill allows the Ebonite to control kinetic forces in order to direct a physical attack, either against a single target or to create a blast that covers a wide area. We also have things such as enhance, which is the art of physically manipulating an Ebonite's own body to increase strength, speed, or to form natural weapons such as razor-sharp teeth and claws. We also have heal, senses, reality fold, and all sorts of fun stuff. When it comes to species skills, each character starts with a number of species skills which reflect the base knowledge earned during a typical upbringing. These skills should be recorded on the character sheet, and each species skill begins at rank 1. So for example, the human has things such as detect, education, academic, streetwise. In the case of the Frother, this species has melee weapons, streetwise, unarmed combat, just to name a few. And of course, when it comes to the Stormer 711 Xeno, you have things such as climbing or stealth, and in the case of the Stormer 313 Malice, you have things such as intimidate, throw, athletics. So there's quite the variety, and I'm just mentioning some of the skills from the different categories. There are a lot of skills here. Now, concerning Ebonite characters, an Ebonite character must specify which path they followed during the upbringing and early training, Ebon or Waster. Ebons follow the traditional upbringing, focusing on self-preservation and mental focus, whereas a Waster's upbringing is more destructive, with a focus on using Flux in a more aggressive capacity. Now, when it comes to training packages, once species skills are recorded, a player must select a training package for their character. The training package represents the path of training that the character chose to follow once they were accepted as an operative with SLA Industries. Let me read some of these packages to you. We have Strike and Sweep. Operatives trained in the Strike and Sweep package are given a wide range of general use combat and field ready skills. We have Heavy Support. Heavy Support is a popular training package for operatives during training. The aim of this training package is to prepare operatives for the rigors of handling and using support weapons within the confines of Mort City, as well as out in the cannibal sectors. We also have Investigation and Interrogation. Investigation and Interrogation is the primary package of choice for the modern non-combat operative. The package has proven very popular since the rise of new threats on the downtown streets, and covers everything from basic forensic examination to advanced interrogation and torture techniques. We also have Bureaucrats. While the Bureaucrat package is one of the company's less popular options, it has nonetheless become an extremely valuable package for the modern operative. The Bureaucrat is often the strongest leader within a group, acting as the voice of a squad and using their communication skills to not only lead, but also manage the civilian population on Mort. And these are just some of the packages. Concerning other starting skills, after a character has applied their training package skills, additional skills may be chosen to round off their experience of working for SLA Industries and living in Mort City. Then we have information on traits. Traits round a character off, adding to the role-playing element of their personality. They also give the game master some juicy bits to play with. Each trait is worth or costs a number of points. Some have a variable points value, with a higher value representing a greater level of the trait. Traits with a negative points value represent negative traits, of course, with the lowest levels representing very severe disadvantages. The cost of some traits also range from negative to positive, representing that it can be taken as either an advantage or disadvantage to the character. For example, vision ranges from particular bad vision to incredibly good eyesight. Players should note that any maximum ranks taken in traits must be adhered to with regards to the way that the player plays the character. A player starts with 0 points to spend on traits for their character, but may gain points by taking negative traits. Optionally, a player may also opt to spend some of their 30 skill points to purchase traits and or spend points earned from taking negative traits on additional skills, though such points may only ever be used to purchase skills at rank 1. So there are many different positive and negative traits, such as Addiction, which is a negative trait, and therefore you gain points in rank. But there's also Ambidextrous, because it is a positive trait, it costs points in rank. There's also Anger, Anxiety, Arrogant, Depression, Exceedingly Cool, Looks, Attractive or Unattractive, Phobia, Sterile, Good Vision or Poor Vision, and many more. Obviously, positive traits give you an advantage in specific situations, and negative traits are going to present those disadvantages or flaws. After all of that, you determine your hit points, the hit points based on character species. Obviously, for example, there's going to be a variety of hit points based on the sturdiness of the species. You also determine other things such as movement in a round of combat, equipment, encumbrance of course, and just some finishing touches related to your character's personal story or history rather, and their background. And this concludes the review for today. As you can see, the Neophron feels a lot like a good guy species. You simply cannot go wrong if you want to play a more decent fellow in this role-playing game, although they still have that defect or flaw of arrogance. And concerning the character creation process, as you can see, the customization is quite high. You have many different skills and packages, details concerning the species, the equipment that you can carry, the equipment that you will be using, connecting it to your skills of course. You're not going to take with you some gear that you are not familiar with or knowledgeable about. And in the next part of the review we are going to talk about rules and mechanics. Well, thanks for watching this part of the review. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.